I just want to talk a little bit about why we see dogs with fear. Usually, two, three big things pop up. One is that it develops from experience. It could also be genetic. Fearful mothers produce fearful puppies. And of course, uh, fear can come from pain, especially in adult dogs, especially in senior dogs. They may suddenly you'll see them cowering from you, snarling. They won't like you to approach them or randomly scared of something. It's not maybe about that thing. It's just physiologically something is off. And what does fear do to the dog? A range of things. It can suppress their immune system. It can reduce their lifespan. It can also lead to aggression. So what I have here, this volume, how you increase the volume. So what I'm going to talk about is dog body language, how you can kind of understand at what kind of level of fear. So in the first, the first signs that we see, and I wouldn't even call this fear, it's mostly I'm a little stressed out. They're also called stress signs, displacement signals, but essentially it's the dog telling you I'm uncomfortable, I'm a little stressed. Next, when things get a little more serious, when whatever is scaring them or whatever is stressing them out doesn't work, they do move to freezing, growling, sometimes lunging and jumping, and air snaps also. When a dog snaps at you, that's also very often it comes from a place of stress. And finally, when it gets really bad, the dog will snap at you, will bite you, and even within the biting, there's a whole like 6-7 levels that experienced trainers talk about. But that's also, like I said, fear is one of the biggest reasons for aggression that we see these days. And in all of this, you have to understand that it's all just communication. The dog is just communicating to you. So what can we do when we see our dogs, exhibiting signs of low to super high stress? Remember, even a dog biting it can be fear related. It could also not be fear related. You have to first identify the cause of fear, and there can be multiple. So you have to kind of understand what the dog does. Again, now that's like a second level of what causes the fear, which is like a second level of observing your dog, which this is where you kind of build up the story around the dog once you've identified like exactly the dog's body language cues. The second thing that you do after that is kind of understand the level of fear. The fear, I will say, you consult a trainer or a behaviorist. Just that may just make things more efficient for you. And once you know they're fearful, you know what causes their fear, you understand how bad it is. It's your job to be the advocate for life. And now we're going to talk about some of the tips and tricks and activities and strategies you can use. One, of course, is management. And the other, of course, is working on the fear, the behavior program. So one of the most common strategies is to manage the situation. Some amount of management in the house and real focus on obedience training, which is just like 2-3 commands. Apart from commands, I really emphasize trust building games, such as teaching a dog a good fetch so they come back to you and drop things, and confidence building games. Often that's say searching for treats in the house, or the dog puzzles, or teaching them get on the bed, like fun games in the house, just because dogs who are scared need to win in life. It just teaches the dog, oh, I am doing things, like things around me are positive, I am understanding, I'm succeeding in life. So you just need to give dogs things to win for. And the next level up would be to do these trainings, like these commands and these games around the presence of things that they would otherwise be a little scared of. Again, it depends on the fear level. If your dog is reacting and lunging at people, you don't want to go play like fine nose work when there's like strangers around. It's bound to backfire. But say if your dog is scared of like a sound or something, maybe that sound can be playing while your dog is winning with you, teaching them something new or playing a game. So it's just creating a positive association. The dog is winning despite that level of fear. Around habituation and desensitization and counter conditioning. These are now technical behavior terms, but essentially habituation means habituate the dog to something they're scared of. It only works if your dog is not that scared of things. And then the second one, that is desensitization and counter conditioning, which is very commonly used across the world. It involves pairing, something that's scary with something nice. So for instance, say in the car, or say scared of people, it actually works really well with people. So if you have, say, someone, you have to figure out, she's okay now. If the person is here, if they come any closer, the dog is going to be scared. So you work with that, with the person here. If another person appears, the dog gets a treat, and maybe like many treats. And then over time, you build up that person to come closer. Now, the reason, I really advocate you doing it with someone professional is because the person coming closer doesn't mean the person you won't touch and play with the dog. Like that is a whole other level. So working with the sight of the person, working with the touch of the person, it's all different. And it may seem like a really long process. It is a very long process, but every time is quicker and quicker and quicker. And sometimes spending that few months now is a lot better than suffering through it forever. But there aren't any quick solutions, but there are management techniques. Another thing you can do is, if you don't want to do the one person by the other in terms of reducing fear to people, you can just, for some people it does work, including Cookie, just walk the dog when there aren't that many people around. So like 5 a.m., 5:30, 6 a.m., do like a really long walk. So you get your time with the dog is happy on the walk, and you've done your due diligence, and that's also totally fine. And throughout all of this, never feel sorry for your dog. Remember, like, they may be scared of things outside the house, but they will rule your house if you give them, like, oh, how sad, like that thing scared you outside. Okay, come sleep on the bed. Like, no, that's not okay. That's not how you work on the fear. You're just going to create a dog who's scared and spoiled at home. So be kind of, goal oriented, use your common sense, see what you can and cannot do, what behaviors of your dog are acceptable and not acceptable, what behaviors or responses of your dog, the fear level, is it something that's really high you need to work on, is it something that can be managed, is it how much of the quality of your life and your dog's life are in threat. So think about all of that, and not just you sit with your household and kind of figure out, what do we want to do, what do we not want to do, what are some achievable goals, because there are many, many, many things you can do. And I would like to end with this, my favorite infographic on dog. It's a dog's emotional cup. How do you refill the cup and what empties the cup? So just to give you perspective on, if your dog is scared of one thing, you can manage it, you can work through the behavior, and you can also add all these other things in your dog's life to enrich their life.